Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my ACOTAR reading vlog. So if you didn't know, A Court of Thorns and Roses is one of the most popular fantasy series all over TikTok, all over the whole book community. So finally, it's my turn to read it. This is so heavy, I need to put this down. So it is currently a 5-book series. It is unfinished, so there will eventually be more books in the series, but I need to really hop on the bandwagon and start reading this series because I've wanted to for so long and now it's finally time. So in the series we have A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Wings and Ruin, A Court of Frost and Starlight, and finally we have this tank. We have A Court of Silver Flames. So if I'm being honest, so honest, I am going into the series completely blind. I have absolutely no idea at all what this book is about. I have done my absolute best to like avoid any spoilers whatsoever. I literally know absolutely nothing. I don't know anything about what these books are about. But I do want to say before we get too far into this vlog, this will be full spoilers. Any thought or feeling that I have, I will say it. I'm just gonna say that right now. There's full potential of this being full spoilers. So if you haven't read it and you do plan on reading the series, click off right now and save it for later. Come back once you read the series. So today is actually January 1st and I'm gonna be so unrealistic with myself. I really want to read this entire series in the month of January. I want to finish all 5 books before January is over. So we need to get moving. So first we have A Court of Thorns and Roses that we are going to start today. I was actually able to check this out on Libby, so I'll be able to read it on my Kindle, and I have all the other ones on hold right now so that I can hopefully be able to read them on my Kindle. So let's get reading. Okay, so I have waited a little bit, like a little while. I'm now 52% through this book to talk to you guys about it and give you my updates because I was like having a really hard time getting into it. Before this book, I have only read Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and Divine Rivals. Those are the only fantasy books that I've ever read. So like it took me a while to like get into this because I'm being introduced to this new world and I'm very new to fantasy. And so it was just a little hard for me to get into. And I'm still not 100% connected to Feyre. I'm gonna be so honest, I'm feeling a little indifferent from her, but I'm growing more for her. I don't know how to say that, but I am growing to like her more. Yeah, so I'm on page 220, so I'm on chapter 25, so I have like 196 pages left. I think that's correct. I feel like we also rushed into the whole like Tamlin and Feyre thing like pretty quickly. Like he's this like high lord and all of a sudden this human and him are like having a little romance out of nowhere. I just feel like it happened very quickly. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Lucian, but I think that he is very funny. I think that him and Tamlin together, the way that they like talk with Feyre sometimes is just so funny. Like I was literally laughing out loud yesterday because she was like doing something stupid and they were just like, oh you stupid human, and I was just laughing so hard. So I am enjoying it so much more now than I was at the beginning. But I'm gonna say this now, just from the vibes that I got from Nesta at the very beginning, I feel like she's going to play a bigger role in the whole series than we've seen of her so far. I feel like further down the line, or maybe later in this book, or probably further down the line in the series, I just feel like she has so much potential. I feel like she's going to, I don't know, I feel like she's gonna do more. And I know that there's a character named Rhys, I'm pretty sure. So when Feyre went to, what was it called, the Great Rite or something like that, the Fae like celebration, and she met this like stranger. I feel like the stranger is Rhys. I could be so wrong and that's gonna be like so embarrassing if I'm wrong, but just the way that like, for one, she called him like the most like handsome or the most beautiful like male or whatever she called him that she'd ever seen, but also because he never introduced himself. And I just feel like for her to run into a stranger like that, he's gonna play a bigger part. And if it's not Rhys, I feel like that stranger will just eventually play a part in the story as well. So those are my 2 predictions right now, Nesta and stranger being possibly Rhys. So my mom and I are actually reading this series at the same exact time. We're both like around the 50% mark in this book. So we're going to the beach today. I'm in my little beach outfit. It's like 50 degrees outside, but we're going to the beach and we have made like a pact that we're not allowed to leave the beach until we both finish the book. So we'll see if we'll actually be able to do that, but I have faith because I feel like the last part of this book, it's really gonna start picking up and it's gonna be good. Alright, you guys, I have finished A Court of Thorns and Roses. The last time we talked, I was like feeling like it was just going so slow. I wasn't really connected to it. I wasn't really enjoying it all that much. But oh my goodness, that changed so quickly. When my mom and I read at the beach, it like started to pick up a little bit, and it was really like once she like went home, like once she went back to the human world, that's when it like really started to pick up and everything just started to happen. And then when she went back and she got the whole explanation of the whole curse and everything, and it literally like it all made sense, because like I was also feeling really like, I thought it was like so weird how fast her and Tamlin were like falling for each other, and like that was like really weird to me. I was like, why is this High Lord so into this human girl that he just met? Like it didn't make any sense to me. But then once we learned about the whole curse and everything, it literally just, it all made so much sense. Then once she got to the under the mountain, once she was down there and with all the trials and everything, and the stranger guy, I was right, it was Reese. I feel like that wasn't too hard to guess. It wasn't like a monumental thing that I guessed or anything. But I know that like Reese becomes like a big loved character, like he's like very popular, and I'm just like, I could totally see how, like I know he's like kind of like a villain at the moment, but he's got like this side where he's like good. But I'm really interested to see more of him and Farah together, because I feel like so far they're like the storyline that they've had together has been so interesting, and so I can't wait for more of that. The way that everything wrapped up into this, so perfect. Like I loved this so much. So I think I'm gonna rate this one 4.5 stars, just because I was like a little indifferent to it at the beginning, and it was like really slow at first, and it took me like up until the 60% mark almost to like really get into it. So I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars, because the ending and like the last 40% was just so good. It deserves 4.5 stars. But now we're moving on to the next book, which is A Court of Mist and Fury. I feel like overall this is one of like the most loved books in this series, but this is when the books start getting a lot bigger. This one is like over 200 pages longer than this one, and I don't have it on my Kindle yet. It hasn't become available in the library, so I'm gonna have to read it like this, and that's a big book to be carrying around. I'm so excited to continue. Are we supposed to like Tamlin? Like, are we supposed to be rooting for Tamlin and Farah to be together? Because I just don't feel them whatsoever. I don't like him. He was like okay in the first book, but now, especially now that he's locking her in the freaking spring court, and he's like making her like ignore or like not talk about everything that she's going through. Like, I don't like this guy. I don't, and I'm not rooting for the two of them whatsoever. Like, literally, am I supposed to be rooting for them? Because I can't do that. I feel like the beginnings of these books are so slow, even though like the ending of the last one was so good, and like I was just like wanting to know what was gonna happen next. I feel like the beginnings just like brought me back to it just being so slow and me like not really caring that much. When she's with Reese and it's the two of them, I'm really like enjoying it. It is just very slow. But her and Reese, while they were like flying through the air, when they did like the whole thing where they like exchanged truths with each other, and she like admitted, she was like, I'm thinking that I was a lonely, hopeless person, and I might have fallen in love with the first thing that showed me a hint of kindness and safety. Like, okay, true. Like, I'm glad that we're both on the same page. Like, thank you, Farah, for like literally just like confirming that you and Tamlin are not supposed to be together, because it's just like, I'm not feeling it. Not that it's my relationship to judge or anything, I'm just not feeling the chemistry. I don't like him. No one should be forcing you to keep your emotions in like that. I love Reese. I know he's like still kind of supposed to be like a villain, I think, but is he really? Because he cares more about Farah and her abilities and like her well-being more than Tamlin does, so I don't know. I love how like literally everything just like connects. Like Sarah J Maas like just like puts like little details in the story, and then like it ends up like meaning something more like later. Like literally, like when Feyre and Amren, is that how you say that? I'm so bad with these names, but when they were just down trying to get the book in that little like building that was like underwater, whatever, when they were saved by those water people, water wraiths, whatever, and they said that like their debt, their sister's debt was now paid. But like at the beginning during the tithe, when Feyre like gave the jewelry and all of her stuff to that one girl who like couldn't pay Tamlin, and then Feyre and Amren end up getting saved because of that one little gesture, because then that lady's sisters are now saving Feyre. Like it's just like the way it all connects. Like I just love that. That was insane. That literally had me. But like I just love the way that like little details in the beginning can then like lead to something down the line, and then it all connects so beautifully. Like that was happening in the first book too, and I love that so much. I'm now 50% done with this book. Did I say 50? I meant 57. Did I say 57? But I'm listening to this ACOMAF playlist that someone put together for like when you're reading this book, and there's a couple Taylor Swift songs in here, like The Archer is playing right now. I'm not retaining any words in this book right now because all my brain is doing is singing along to The Archer. Same thing happened with My Tears Ricochet. But let's find my place in this book and then I can show you how far I am. Alright, so this right here is what I have left. So we're obviously over halfway. We're 57% in. We have like 260 pages left, so we're getting through it. And like I said, it's beginning to pick up, so it's going to be a more enjoyable read. But anyways, let's log in and keep reading. Okay, the song actually hurts listening to after reading this. I'm like gonna cry. I love this song, but I might need to skip it. This hurts. Listen, I don't want to offend anyone by saying this, but why was this like kind of boring? Like literally, like I feel like the first 70% of this was just really boring. Like it only started to pick up once Feyre got to the summer court. Once Feyre, Rhys, and Amren were at the summer court, that's when it started to pick up. And then like you saw me reading like when everything like that went down, when like they had to go get the like the book, half the book, whatever. That's like the most that I felt in the first like 70% of the book. That was like the most high stakes part of the book for me, and like the most interesting. And then other than that, I just felt it was a little boring. I hated when she was locked up. I hated when Tamlin, in the beginning, when Tamlin was just not being, you know, but then once Rhys came and saved her, and then when she went to the night court, and like I love all the new characters. I love their relationship. I love Rhys, I love Morgan, I love Amren, I love Kaysen and Azriel. These names, you guys, I cannot pronounce these names. But then the last 70%, when Rhys was like telling Feyre all about their bond, and like the painting with the night sky and the paint, like how everything, like they literally have like the best invisible string that I've ever read about. So I loved all of that. But then I thought I didn't think it could get any better. But then when everything started happening with Feyre's sisters and the cauldron and everything, and then Tamlin, and then Ianthe is like a villain and everything. Oh my god, like you guys, like it got so good towards the end. Like the last like 20%, however much it was of this book, was so good. It was so freaking good. So good. And because of that, I have decided to actually rate this book 4.75 stars, which seems out of characteristic, being that I thought that a lot of the first part of it was very boring and like a little slow, but the way it all came together and like just like the way that it set up for book 3, this was just really good. So yeah, I gave this 4.75 stars, and I just think that it set up the third book so perfectly. And I could be wrong, I don't know much about like this whole like series or anything. I've never really like listened to people talk about it because I didn't want spoilers or anything, but I feel like this book is like such a good like stepping stone from the first book to the third. Like I feel like it just like, you know, like this is a good like world building kind of book. Like you'll learn a lot in this, and I feel like a lot just happens. A lot just builds up for the third book. So now it's time to move on to A Court of Wings and Ruin. So this is the third book. I'm making a prediction right now. I think that this is going to be my favorite book in the whole series because of what happened in the second one and the way that like this one is now set up. the bond between Reese and Feyre, and Feyre now pretending the way she now has to go back with Tamlin into the spring court, and she has to pretend that like everything's okay and that she's still like, why does it give me anxiety? Like the fact, like, just I feel like, thank God I'm not her, because just the idea of having to do all that literally stresses me out so much. But I just feel like this is going to be so good, like so good. But this one is 699 pages, so she's a big one, but I am very, very excited. So let's get to reading. This book is stressing me out so badly. Someone's gonna die, aren't they? Is someone gonna die? Please tell me now. I cannot tell you how happy I am that Ianthe is now dead. Hopefully there wasn't some maneuvering and she's like okay, because she deserves it. If any of the other characters die, I don't know if I'll be continuing the series, not gonna lie. These characters are literally like, I care about them so much if anything happens to them, because like how would any of them recover? How would any of them move on from that? They wouldn't. So please just let's leave everyone alive. I have 3.5 hours left of this book, and so far definitely my favorite. The ending will determine whether or not this is like a 5-star, but right now I feel like it could be, because I've loved like the whole meeting thing with all of the different courts and everything was just so cool. Even though Tamlin is such a little freaking baby and I can't stand Tamlin, but also okay, Lucien deserves only good things. I know that like there was a little like controversy when he was kind of like going along with like Tamlin's whole like keeping Feyre like under locks and everything. He deserves only good. He deserves Elaine to be his mate. He deserves just only good things, literally. Like I care about Lucien. I love him and his friendship with Feyre, so I don't want anything to happen to him. And the fact that we haven't heard from him in a while because he's been off trying to find this queen, like where is he? Like why can we get an update on him? Like I'm worried that something's gonna happen at the end, like he's gonna pop up and it's not gonna be good. I'm really worried about that. But 80% through, 3.5 hours left to go. I'm on chapter 65 and I'm scared. What? No, what is going on? What is happening? What is happening? Is Amryn bad? Is she? Oh my god, I'm freaking out. Oh my god. Like I can't. This is stressing me out so bad. I can't do it. Why is that making me cry? Like, yes, Elaine, yes. Round of applause for Elaine. Thank you. No, the worst just happened. The worst has happened. There's no way that Reese is dead right now. I can't. Okay, we need to talk about this book. The last thing you guys saw was me like reacting to every little thing that was happening at the end. It was just so insane. I absolutely love this book so freaking much. It was just so good from the beginning. I was hooked with her like having to pretend that she was still with the spring court once her and Lucian went back to the night court, and then with the whole war and everything, literally every single thing that happened, and just the entirety of this story was just so freaking insane. But I do want to read like one little quote that I absolutely love. "And I could understand just for a heartbeat as the wind tore around us why some rulers, human and fae, had bowed before Hybern, bowed rather than face this. It wasn't only the cost of life that ripped and devastated and sundered. Sundered? Is that how you say that? Sorry. It was the altering of a soul with it. The realization that I could perhaps go back home to Valaris, perhaps see peace achieved and cities rebuilt, but this battle, this war, I would be the thing forever changed. War would linger with me long after it ended, some invisible scar that would perhaps fade but never wholly vanish. But for my home, for Proethien, and the human territory, and so many others, I would clean my blades and wash the blood from my skin, and I would do it again and again and again." That came from Feyre's POV, obviously, and I just like she's new here. Like, she hasn't, how long has she been at the night court with Rhys? Like a year now, maybe a little longer than that, but like she's new here basically. But she's like, because she cares so much about this, like about the city and like the people and everything, she just like, she doesn't care about what the war does to her. She would do it no matter what, because she cares so much. She cares about bringing peace and everything to like the city, whatever. And the whole like meeting with like all of the other High Lords and everything, it was just so crazy. And like the fact that like I kept thinking that people were like deceiving us. Obviously I still don't like Tamlin, but like the fact that like we thought that he was like deceiving them, like we thought that he was going to the meeting, even though he was being such a freaking whatever at the meeting. We thought that then he was like spying and then working with Hybern, but he wasn't, because he was spying on Hybern for the rest of Proethien, like our side. And the fact that he also saved Feyre's life and he also saved Rhys's life, but like I still don't like him because of what he did, but like he's like making it up by like trying to be a better person, I feel like. Oh, and then I thought that Amren was like pulling one on us because of the whole like how she brought Feyre to the cauldron, and then she was like, "I'm sorry I lied to you," whatever. And then I'm like, hold up, what are we doing? Like, I thought she was about to like turn on them completely, but it was just so that she could save the whole army and like finish the battle for them. So in case you guys were wondering, this book is 5 stars for me. I have not stopped thinking about this since I finished it. I feel like it was just perfect. I'm so obsessed with this book. I loved it so much, just so much. Like I wish that all of the books were exactly like this one. Like I just want to relive this so bad. I just want to reread it over and over and over again. It was so freaking good. But now let's talk about A Court of Frost and Starlight. So I didn't actually film me reading this because over the past 2 days I just binged it kind of. It's pretty short. It's 229 pages. It's just a novella, and I've never read a fantasy novella, so I wasn't sure how it would like fit in the series. I had no idea what this was gonna be, but it's literally, like I've told everyone, it's literally like a Christmas episode. It's basically just following right after this of a winter solstice. It's literally a Christmas episode of like a show or something. If you love the characters the way that you probably should, if you're like reading this series, like you probably have fallen in love with these characters, this is like great, because then you're just like following them through a little solstice. It's just like, I don't know, I didn't absolutely love it. I felt like I was just so obsessed with the story after this one, or I was just like wanting, I needed more sort of, but like this didn't give it, because it was just like following the characters and they kept going Christmas shop or winter solstice shopping. It honestly felt like the end of Rhys and Feyre's story, and I know that the next book follows Nesta's POV, but it's just like I'm not ready to say bye to Feyre and Rhys, and I know that they'll still be in the next book, but it's just, this felt like they're ending. Like it felt like they're ending in the series, like they're just like off on their own now, like having their own little life, and like that's fine. They deserve it, honestly. They have like this new house together, and Feyre's now teaching art classes, and now they're talking about like having kids soon. So it's just like, it all just seems like this was like kind of like their ending, and like I love love that, but it's like I'm just so obsessed with them. And it's like I know that we're gonna get like Nesta and Kaysen in the next one. If I'm being so honest, this book made me not excited at all for this one. When I was reading this, and even after I finished it, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually excited for Nesta's book. Like I think it's actually gonna be good. Even though we're not even gonna be in Feyre's POV anymore, I think I'm really gonna like it. But then I read freaking this, and now I'm just so not even wanting to pick this one up. It's just like I don't know, just like I feel like we needed to see a little bit more of Nesta in this, and maybe get some of her POV too, because we got Feyre, Rhys, Morgan, and Kaysen's POV in this, and we got like one little like half a page of Nesta's POV in this. But it's like, if we're gonna be going into her book, why not get us excited by like putting some of her like POV in here? And this is a big book too, like this is just so intimidating, and the fact that I'm not even excited for it. But yeah, so like I said, this was 5 stars, 3 stars. This just wasn't for me, and I feel like during like the Christmas time, like next Christmas season, I could even just read this as like a Christmas book, like just to be back in the world a little bit. And because I love these characters so much, it would be perfect. It just like, it puts such a wall in between the series for me. I don't know, it kind of it's making this one really hard to pick up for me. I'm sorry, Cassian just put a knife into his heart. I'm sorry, what? Oh, false alarm. He didn't stab himself? Confused. No, oh my god, Feyre better be okay. Feyre better be okay. I'm not even playing. I'm not even joking. If something happens to Feyre while she's giving birth to this baby, I'm done with the series. I will not be continuing the series. I literally have tears dripping from my face. Like, what? I have like literally never done this over books before. This is so crazy. I just finished A Court of Silver Flames. Why do I feel like I could just sit here and cry? Like, I feel like I'm just like on the brink of tears right now. Like, I think it's, oh my god, ew. I'm not about to start bawling my eyes out. I think it's partially because I just finished this series, and I know that there's more books coming out, but I've finished all of the books that are out right now. How am I supposed to read anything else now? What, like, there's no way. Like, how do I move on? How do I move on from these characters? But anyways, let's talk about A Court of Silver Flame. So like I said, this book, you're going from following Feyre and Feyre's POV in all of these books to now following Nesta, and it's not even in like Nesta's POV. You're like in third person, but you're following Nesta. And so, like, if I'm being so honest, this series completely belongs, like, this series is Feyre and Rhys's series. Like, this is their series. And so getting used to like not being in their minds anymore, and like you're not really like seeing much of them at all, was like a huge adjustment for me. And even though like Nesta, I think she's cool. I've always thought that she was cool and she had so much potential even from the beginning. I've been so obsessed with Feyre and Rhys that like going to a new POV, it was hard for me to do. The ending, like, oh my god, the last like 20% of these books, like the last 20% every single time without fail, is just so insane and so good. But let's talk. First of all, there was so much spice, so much smut in this book. Like, it felt so kind of out of character for the series, because all of the other books, like the first one, I think there was one chapter with Feyre and Tamlin, which is so weird to say. The fact that her and Tamlin were even a thing at any point is so weird. And then the second book, I think there was a couple. Third, a few, but then this one, it was like it felt like every other chapter there was a scene, and it was like a long chapter of it. So it was just like, it felt so just weird. We're like jumping from barely any to like a whole freaking bunch, and so it just felt like very lusty and stuff like that. And like I know that Nesta and Cassian had like this whole like history sort of thing, so it's not like out of character. It's just like it felt weird for the books. I was like skipping like so many pages because I'm like, this is like, it's literally every other chapter. Another issue that I had was Nesta was being such a freaking baby. Like, okay, let me say this, everything she went through, the way that she was acting at the beginning of the book, all of like the drinking and everything that she was doing, completely valid, 100% valid, because that happens when you deal with trauma like that. That's exactly what happens. But the way that she was just like acting towards Feyre and Elaine, okay, Nesta has always protected Elaine. Elaine and Nesta have always been like this, but then now all of a sudden she's like being a total like not a good person, not nice at all to Elaine. Like why are you switching up like that? Like it made no sense. I understand that she was dealing with a lot, but it was just like, it just felt like she was being incredibly immature. But anyways, now let's get to the stuff that I really freaking enjoyed. So first of all, the whole mask thing, when I think she, what was it called? The Kelpie? Was it called a Kelpie? I think that's what it was called. When she like got pulled into the water by that creature and then put the mask on. Literally, like there's certain scenes in this that I could totally see like visually so perfectly as if it were like in a movie, and that was one of them, because it was just so like, yes Nesta, go, so good. So there was that, I loved that. And then, oh my gosh, and then I just think that it was such a cool like storyline, how Nesta is like becoming friends and like practically like sisters, like a whole found family thing with the priestesses, and then Emery, who like also has trauma and stuff like that. I just think that that was like such a perfect storyline for Nesta, because she's like learning through these girls who have dealt with different trauma, but like bad stuff too. She's like learning from them and becoming friends with them, and just like learning that there's, you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel, girl. You just got to keep going. So I just love that, and the whole training thing. I thought that that was a really cool storyline for Nesta. And then when she got to the blood rite, first of all, that was just so brilliant. Again, Sarah J Maas, she just knows what she's doing. She knows how to write these characters and their storylines so perfectly. So the fact that Nesta and her friends were put into the blood rite after all of the training, just so good. It was literally like the Hunger Games. Like it was like Hunger Games vibes, because she's literally basically like fighting to the death, and there's like weapons and stuff like that. So freaking good. I just loved that part. And then the end with like Feyre and the whole baby thing. Okay, also like I think that the whole pregnancy thing would have made so much more sense if we were actually in Feyre's POV still, but like just the way that it all happened at the end and how Nesta ended up saving Feyre. So I loved this book, and it's just like, it like, even if I find like a big chunk of this book like not so good, Sarah J Maas makes up for it, because like I was like reading this and I was like trying to get through all the spice scenes and stuff like that, and I was like, this book is like, what is it doing? Like I feel like this is like a 3 stars, like this is not gonna be good. But then the last 20% again literally raised it up so much, because also like, besides this book and A Court of Wings and Ruin, books never make me full on bawl my eyes out. I'll like get teary-eyed, or like a couple tears will fall, but not where like tears are literally dripping down my face. So it takes a lot for books to do that for me, because they're literally words on paper. But the fact that this one was able to do that too, it's just like, I can't rate it 3 stars. So it's like, I don't like it, I don't know even where it sits, because it's obviously more than a 4 star, but I don't know where. I think I'm just gonna put it at like a 4.5 stars. 4.5 stars. We're gonna put her at 4.5 stars, because she was just so good. The parts that were good will forever be engraved into my brain. So I think we're gonna sit at a 4.5 stars. So with that being said, you guys, we finished the ACOTAR series. Like, how do I move on from this? Like, this was so good. Like, so much better than I ever anticipated it to be. Like, I had no idea what it was about. Again, I went into the series completely blind. Like, all that I knew is that there was a character named Reese, and there was a book that followed Nesta. That's literally all that I knew. All that I knew from the entire series. So I went in completely blind. reading. But I just want to quickly like speed through all these books again and give you guys my rating. 4.5 stars, 4.75 stars, 5 stars. Literally have not stopped thinking about this book. I love this so much. 3 stars and 4.5 stars. So overall, this series, like the fact that with the exception of this one, all of the books are over 4 stars, like that's such a that's just saying so much. Like would it be that big of a deal if I just kept rereading the series over and over again and never read anything else? Because that's all that I feel like doing right now. I want to reread this so bad. No, like I'm literally feeling like POV Right Where You Left Me by Taylor Swift. Help, I'm still at the restaurant. I will never move on from this series. Oh my gosh. So with that being said, our ACOTAR reading vlog is now coming to an end. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you made it this far, comment what your favorite book in the series was. Mine is absolutely A Court of Wings and Ruin. Just so good. And I hope you guys enjoyed this spoiler reading vlog, and I will see you guys so soon for another video. Bye!